Record.
Yo, yo.
Janni, douche.
What is up?
My guy, thank you so much for coming on the Free Yourself podcast. I'm
Of
so
course.
freaking pumped. You're actually, it's episode 111. Ooh, I don't know if you know anything about numbers, but that's freaking. So,
Wow.
Yeah, I'm freaking pumped. Seriously though, thank you so much for lending me your time and coming on the podcast. I'm really excited to have you on.
Of course, man. This is awesome.
Hell yeah, man. So let's get right into it, man. Come on, stand up, show everyone this Elysian long sleeve.
Here we go. So this is, I just got this in a couple days ago. Here's the back, has Elysium with
Lower a little bit. Here
we go.
And now straighten up your back. Oh yeah, there we go.
So
That's friggin' beautiful, man.
They're limited edition. I don't know. I'm pretty sure the sale ended like yesterday, so I don't know if we're selling anymore. But we might sell them again and put them on my website. But whoiselysian.com is where you can get all my merch. So we're hoping to get some more products in and stuff like that. So, but I'm really happy how it turned out. Super comfortable, really nice. Brand's looking good.
Hell yeah. And long sleeves, man. Long sleeve tees are like the best fucking shirts. I love long sleeve tees so much. It's
they're really comfortable.
It's like the perfect spring, summer, fall, nighttime chill. Like
it's
the
so
best. Nice. and especially, you know, with all these drive-ins and stuff, it's like perfect to wear to all these now, you know.
Very true, man.
Instead of like, if you're going to the club, you might sweat your ass off, you know, but like in the drive-in, out in the open,
yeah, perfect. Exactly.
Hell yeah, man. I got my kombucha.
Is that kombucha or kombucha?
Ginger turmeric, brew doctor. Shout out. Not a sponsor, just love it.
My dad loves those kombuchas or kombuchas.
They're great, you know, helps build the good bacteria in the gut, helps with digestion and health and all that. So, and ginger and turmeric. Ginger is just great for you. Turmeric is just great for you. A lot of people don't know turmeric is TUR. Everyone thinks it's turmeric. It's a turmeric. That's awesome. But so out in California, the freaking blonde hair beauty. So tell me a little bit about, you know, what got you into DJing and producing, man.
Man, it's a really interesting story because, like, you know, the way it happened was like so random. It wasn't like planned or anything. Like, basically, like, it started in 2018. So basically, like, I was at Menlo College my freshman year, and I had a really bad experience there because, like, growing up, I played baseball my whole life, and essentially I was like, I want to be a professional baseball player, and I ended up going to the only college that, like, offered me, and, like, I really didn't look at it as, like, oh, like, do I really want to go here because of the college, or I just want to go here because of baseball? I was so, like, just, like, blindsided by the fact that all I wanted to do was play baseball, and it kind of ruined my college experience my freshman year because the college I went to was super small. I mean, I was living with my cousin, which was great. I wasn't living with him. I went to go see him a lot, which was great. It was super nice because I had family up there in the Bay Area. But you know, it just looking at it from a whole, you know, basically, like, the coaches left when I signed, and, like, my passion for baseball kind of faded. So basically what happened from there is, like, I was like, I want to go to a party school. Like, I want to go to a big school, enjoy college. So I looked at C Boulder, TCU, and U of A. And then, like, when I got into TCU, I was like, wow, this seems like an awesome school. Let me go visit it. And as soon as I stepped on campus, I was like, I love it. This is where I want to go. So when I went there in the fall of 2018, that summer I picked up, or like I just like basically at the time, like I was into music, but like I wasn't into music like I am now. And it was kind of one of those things, like I had a couple buddies that DJ'd, and I was like, you know what, I kind of want to try this out. So I asked one of my friends for some advice, and he was like, get this mixing board, like the SP3, the super basic Pioneer one I still have right there. Yeah, I just got that and like the basic Serato software, and I just started like screwing around on it. And basically, like when I got to school and rushed a fraternity, which I ended up joining Sigma Chi, and it's super awesome. Basically what happened is I was like, I kind of want to like DJ stuff. Like it felt really cool. And I got my first opportunity at this bar called The Bottom, which is now called the Purple Frog. And the first experience there was awesome. Like it was super fun. And like it kind of just like went off from there. Like I don't really know. It's just kind of crazy how things work, because at first I thought, yo, I want to play professional baseball. And then it ended up being like something I discovered with music, and here I am now. And it's kind of crazy, man. Like I did not expect just like screwing around DJing to end up being like committed to producing music. Like, so long story short, I kind of learned that like you don't want to like just aim your sights on one thing your whole life, because you never know what's going to happen. And like it is really amazing to see what's turned out with ELYS in general, but also just kind of like I think the progression of my music taste too, like from what I was listening back then to now. So kind of to sum that up.
Hell yeah, man. One thing that you really said there that stood out to me is talk about how you're so like for me, I set, when I was in middle school and high school, it was like pro hockey player.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to do. And on my podcast with my buddy Matt Z, we talked about how it almost hurts you to identify yourself as just that thing, right? Like growing up, I identified as a hockey player. That was it. That's like, I played every sport with my friends. Like I grew up until 6th grade, I played every sport. And then 6th grade, it was all in for hockey. I did lacrosse for fun in high school, and I freaking loved it. But so to fast forward, I in lifting, like I identified as a power lifter, and I stayed on that track and only doing that one thing. So then when I got injured and I couldn't power lift anymore, it was like, well, what the fuck am I? And like it's almost like I implanted in my head an ability or a catalyst for like depression. Like because I blew my ACL out, and I was like, what am I going to do? And then and I've gotten a back injury since then. Like I crushed my competition for powerlifting. Like it was awesome. But once I hurt my back, and then I had to do a bunch of like corrective exercises and yoga and all these different things that it at first I was exercising to heal my body, but I was like depressed about it.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah.
So taking a step back, and exercise is for the good of my health and fitness, no matter what the exercise is.
Yeah, 100%.
And then with music, I hesitate saying that I make bass house and tech house, because I don't want to be, lumped into just that. So there's man, it's like a freedom when you just identify as yourself.
Dude, 100%. I fully relate to what you're saying, because like I think like I got injured like my sophomore year in high school for baseball, and like I just went through a terrible hill of like depression and the whole 9 yards with that. And like when baseball like didn't work out, I just like immediately thought, in college, like I'm gonna be like this frat boy superstar, like all that. And like it just like that my whole year when I went to TCU, like it was not good because I was just like getting like fucked up constantly, like didn't know who I was. And I think like now that I'm sober almost a year now, like the freedom of like a clear mind and being okay with who I am and like doing music because I love it and not doing shit for other people, like it feels so much better. Like, this is something like my parents didn't force upon me. This is something that my friends were not like, you should do. Like I fully like was like, I want to fucking do this. And it's literally the best feeling in the world because I know for a fact there's going to be people that are be like, dude, ELYS sounds so weird. Like, why are you doing this? You're such a weirdo. And like, you can politely tell them to go like, like I appreciate like the concern or like, I'm going to get a bunch of hate, but it's like, it's one of those things where like, you're doing it because you love it. And I think like that's what I've learned throughout high school and stuff. And like, halfway through college is that you're going to have a lot of people that, want you to do things for like them and like, just like try to fit in with like a bunch of people. And it's like I just felt so miserable trying to do that. And then like once I started doing stuff because I generally enjoyed it and like I'm doing it for myself, it just turns out a lot better. So yeah.
Absolutely, man. I'm reading this book called The Alchemist. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I haven't.
Bro, my buddy, I saw this like, this is like back in high school, I say. I went over, he lives right down the road from me. And he had this book called The Alchemist, like on his like nightstand right next to his bed. And I was like, The Alchemist, like that's a cool name for a book. Like what is that?
Cool.
Dude, and like the whole book is about identifying like your own and executing your own personal legend. And like it goes along exactly with what you're saying. Like you found something that you love and that you're doing. So no matter what anyone else says, you feel good about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like there's
100%.
There's going to be so many people that said like, I experienced this a lot because now I've been DJing for 9 years, almost 10, and producing the past 3 years. Like I'll obviously I've said this a million times. Like I'll be the first one to say that Chris is the main producer of the remote controllers. Like he's way better than I am at production. I have a lot of knowledge about production, but actual application, Chris has been so much better at being able to think of an idea and get it because he's a better understanding of Ableton and all that. So when we're working together, it works perfectly, and we
just glides great.
So, where was I even going with that? But like the whole thing with like identifying your own like path, like finding your own way in life. It's maybe it's because that I focus so much on it and that's why like I see a lot of motivational people and like I'm always looking up motivational speeches and stuff like that. And so like my Instagram feed, Facebook feed, all that stuff is filled with motivational stuff. So it makes me feel like everyone is on this same page of like we gotta do, forget what anyone else says. It's all about what you love, and if you keep doing it, you'll succeed. And so maybe it's just that's my world because Facebook algorithm and stuff is very, very good at showing you what you like and trying to get you to buy things that you like, and which I fall victim to that a little bit. But I'm happy that you brought up. I wasn't gonna bring it up unless you did that. You got a year clean and sober, and because I've had many talks with our boy Kyle, aka 88.
Shout out to 88, boy Kyle.
Oh yeah, man. Because I'm in October, God willing, I'll be celebrating 6 years clean and sober.
Hey, that's awesome, man. Congrats. That's huge.
Thank you, man. And I always try and just like brush over it because we're never, guaranteed another day, but like I minimize it, right? Like I minimize a lot of my successes, right? Like, because it's like once I do it, I got to hit the next thing and then the next thing.
Yeah.
But it's great to see so many people in this industry once, because when I wasn't clean, I didn't see any of the people who were clean and sober in the industry, right?
Yeah.
But once I got clean and sober, I started to meet a lot more people that were in the industry that were clean and sober. And because, I identify a lot with you with being the frat star and getting fucked up all the time, dude. Like I was in shout out Pi Kappa Phi, and, but it took a lot of in over the past 5.5, a little more than that years. Like there's been more growth than in my first 24 years of life. You know what I mean? And whether or not, I'll never push it on anyone. Like I'll never be like, you're fucking up in life if you're not clean and sober, right? Like it's never that. I just know that for right now I can't, and like that's okay, because since I stopped, the amount of things that I've been able to do and accomplish, I don't, just for today, like I don't want to ever, like, why risk?
Why go back?
Like
why?
there's no point to it, and to throw away all this hard work. It's like, and it's not even like that. I know as soon as I use again that I'll throw away all the things that I've gained. It's just like, it's just not worth the risk, because that is a risk.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Did you ever go to any like anonymous programs or anything like that, or?
Yeah. So I took a gap year this year. Basically, or I took a gap year basically, and I went to treatment in the fall. I had like a little episode, like mental health breakdown right before my junior year. And so I went to detox for a week and then ended up going to rehab in Waxahachie for like until like December. And then I went to sober living in Austin till like April after that. And so, yeah, I mean, like.
Wait, what place in Austin?
Alpha 180.
Oh, never mind. Because the place I went in Florida, they opened up a place in Austin.
Oh, really?
I'm still very close with the people who run Recovery Unplugged and stuff. And so,
that's awesome. Oh, Recovery Unplugged.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's sick.
Awesome. I mean, the place changed my life, man. I did not, like I said before, like I didn't think this life was going to be possible.
Yeah.
Clean. Like it was scary for me, because then in college, then I started identifying myself as a DJ, and like, so to be getting clean and be like, fuck, now what the fuck am I? Like what I was a hockey player and that didn't work out. Now I'm DJ and I'm getting fucked up too much. And to be able to see so many people like you and like Kyle and Tommy Sunshine, all these people that are clean in the industry, man. And Recovery Unplugged exposed me to music clean, and I realized that was the drug. Like the music has become my main drug, like
it's pretty awesome, man. Like I never thought like I'd be able to learn how to produce music. Never thought I was gonna be able to like become sober. And like once both of those things like happened, it was just like this insane like feeling. And it was so cool, dude. Like, and now my goal is to like, I have a ton of artists that inspire me, like, Millennium, Slander, Last Heroes, Crystal Skies, Man Cub, Tritonal, Audien, like a ton of guys. And, I don't think all of them are sober. I mean, also, I don't think all of them are addicts. So,
yeah.
But like, it's just kind of cool to like, kind of connect to their music and like have it inspire me. And like, my goal is kind of like, obviously make my own unique style and sound of music, but like obviously take inspiration from it. And like, my goal is like, I really want to like perform and like spread the wealth and like have people like fully relate and connect to my music and like share my message from that. Like that's the goal, you know. Obviously I have no clue what's going to happen, you know, because the music industry is so unpredictable, especially now.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm just going to keep on grinding and releasing music and see what will happen. But it is definitely a lot better being sober and trying to produce and like being high, and did not work out. So.
Man, the first time I DJ'd clean, I was like, man, for so long I believed that myth that I'm better when I'm fucked up, you know?
Yeah.
I'm more creative. Like
For real.
the first gig that I ever did clean was by far my best performance up to that point. I was like, what? Like, is this serious? And like, because I thought, honestly, like I thought it was gonna be like, really nervous, and I was like, oh, how can I do this without like a shot of whiskey, even like anything? And
yeah.
it was a great experience, man. And it was, what was really powerful about it, it was 2 days before I was going to treatment, and I had just gone to my first AA and NA meeting respectively that week. And I was like, you know what, like I went to these meetings, like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna commit to this. Like I'm going to treatment. Like a lot of times, you know, because I'm pretty active in Narcotics Anonymous, I hear of everyone being like, well, I got to get one more run in before I go to rehab. And I don't know why I didn't think that. Like in my head, it was just like, well, I already went to one meeting, and so why not just like see if I can do this clean? And like it was awesome, and it was a great send off. Like, you know, the people that worked there and that I knew that were there, I was like, yeah, I'm going to Florida to work on music. Like it's gonna be great. Like I wasn't saying that I was like going to fucking rehab. Like, but it was that was like the one little spark right before I went to be like, all right, let's give this a real fucking shot. Like let's really try this. And it's hell of a ride since then. And now I drink kombucha out of glass bottles. And
Mm-hmm. No, man, it is truly like, I mean, like when I did like, I mean, obviously like when COVID and stuff hit, there wasn't a lot of stuff going on, and like I was still in sober living like when I was doing music sober. But like I DJ'd like this little small Super Bowl party with the sober living, and like I still felt really awkward because I was like, I'm not used to this, you know. I'm used to like when I have alcohol in my system, I feel like super relaxed, super calm. And you know, it definitely was like a interesting experience, but I think like over time it'll get better, you know. I'm just so used to like, I was just so used to like always relying on alcohol to keep me calm. Like I mean, it is relaxant, it's also suppressant. So you know, I'm just like grateful. I wouldn't change anything because like I wouldn't have met I just like, it's crazy because like, you know, with Kyle, like if I didn't connect with Kyle through Instagram, like then I wouldn't have met you, and I would have met the whole Aftershock fam. I would have met Lewis, like, you know, Elite, like Kyle helped me create Lycian, and I'm very grateful for that. And it's like crazy how that shit happens, you know? So I mean, it's crazy, dude. Like it's insane what can happen. Like, you know, and I think like it was just trusting the process. And I think like your mind can be your own worst enemy, because like that whole time I was like, dude, there's no way I can produce music. There's no way I can be sober. And like once I took a deep breath and knew everything was going to be okay, like it's really cool. Like, you know, and it's, you know, it's one of those things to where like when I like, it's still hard like when I'm with, you know, people my age, and like that whole like, you know, if you like deep house you're cool, and like if you like rap you're cool, and like a lot of people think like the music I like is really fucking weird, and like it's just not like, it's not like mainstream, you know. And I like like how I've been able to just stick with that and be like, just stay true to the music that I really like, because that's like, yeah, I feel like that can define you, like who you are as a person, because like I feel like if you're just trying to follow the crowd, like it's super easy to do that. And that's what I was so used to doing my whole life. And like as soon as I stopped doing that, like felt really good. And it's gonna take some time to continue to like stay strong in that, because it's super easy to be like, oh, I want to be like everyone else. Like, so
Absolutely, man. The the ability to make stuff that actually makes you happy, instead of being like, what are people going to like?
yeah.
And then coming out with a song and being like, does everybody like it? Instead of being like, I fucking love this shit. And I'm so pumped that we're coming out with this. And yeah, I hope you guys like it and I hope it's successful. But like, I'm so pumped that my name is attached to that fucking song. Like, that's a way different feeling. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and man, you're absolutely right in saying like I wouldn't trade, you know, anything in my past. I wouldn't trade it for anything, because like you said, like if you didn't get clean, you wouldn't have met Kyle, and then if you didn't meet Kyle, you wouldn't have been in Aftershock, and then
It's
met
the
me
most
and
viral.
Sam,
It's
all
insane.
that. And if I didn't get clean and move back home, I never would have met Chris, because I met Chris at my first job that I got after I got clean.
Dude, that's insane, bro.
Like, none of this. Well, you know, I don't know. Maybe it would have.
Pounds.
Chris D'Souza, the other half of the remote controller.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but then, so I met Lewis in Aftershock because of Sam Sirach.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's so wow! What a small world, man.
And then Sam and I were in the same fraternity in college, but I was a super senior when he pledged, and it was my last semester when he pledged. So
At Delaware?
Huh?
Was it what college you go to?
Westchester University.
Nice.
Shout out Golden Rams. Yeah, it's like 40 minutes south of Philly, about.
Okay.
So, and I'm like an hour outside of Philly.
Mm-hmm.
Drive like you're from Jersey, 45 minutes, you know. So, like, but yeah, man, and Philly, you know, I've grown to absolutely love Philadelphia, and like this is coming from someone who grew up like in the Yankees and the Giants and the Devils, so like Philly was like the enemy, like growing up, like. So, and then, you know, still, you know, of course, you know, Sam likes all Philadelphia sports and all that, and so like we, you know, me and all my, it was very few of us that were, you know, New York fans going to Westchester, so we took a lot of heat, and then my sophomore year, the Yankees beat the Phillies in the World Series, so you know that was a little, that was but yeah, man, there's like none of this, at least in the way that it happened, none of it would have been possible. Like this, I don't know if, you know, definitely just the name Free Yourself comes from Narcotics Anonymous. Like that's a term in that. So like this isn't called that. And I don't know if I would have had the wherewithal to like really commit to doing it. Like I was ready to graduate, get a job, and like live that life, you know, and instead of like actually chasing what like sets my soul on fire, and like,
yeah, no, it's hard to do that, bro. Like, you know, I mean, it's just crazy, like what life, you know, the opportunities it gives us. And I think like sometimes we can get super like have blinders on and not see like all the wonderful opportunities that life has to offer us. And I'm just very fortunate and very lucky to, you know, so far, I mean, everything is going really well. I mean, I'm very lucky, like with the music and stuff, and you know, like airwave music, I submitted the Ascension on Submit Hub, and Airwave Music got back to me. Didn't have vocals, so they politely declined it, but they're like, any other songs that have vocals on it, you know, and they have like 3 million YouTube subscribers in that. Shout out to Airwave. It's kind of crazy, dude. Like, you know, it's just like stuff like little stuff like that I don't expect that's gonna happen. It's really cool. And, you know, I'm just very thankful, very appreciative. You know, it's really cool.
Yeah, man.
So,
I mean, after this podcast, I'll show you. There's like a couple websites that you can submit your track if you're asking for vocals and find a vocalist for like.
oh, really, dude?
Yeah. I'll show you some of that. Shout out
Please.
to Cosmic Academy for teaching me that. So
That's huge, bro.
so that'll
That's
be
huge. That's big things.
yeah. It's hard to just like reach out to a vocalist and do it, especially because like when you're reaching out on Instagram, if they're not following, then it goes to the, you know, the not the spam folder. But
Yeah,
whatever.
it's kind of like it kind of gets, you know, lost in all the DMs.
So they'll there's like really cool things that are out there. It's like you submit and then someone will write lyrics and then that'll get sent to a vocalist and they'll record it and then they'll send it to you and then you put it together. So like,
Wow.
there's a couple,
cool,
you know,
I need that.
yeah. So like, because, you know, not all of us are good at production and can write vocals and can sing. So like,
I'm just good at the instrumental part, dude. Like,
and vocalists and people who write lyrics, when you send them a song, like it'll speak to them in a certain way.
yeah,
and their emotion will come through it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's not like some people might have songs written and then be like, okay, I think this will work well with it. But a lot of vocalists or songwriters hear the, you know, the chord progression and it speaks to them in a certain way, and then they'll write lyrics like that. And I mean, I'm not going to tell anyone that they write a wrong way to write lyrics or anything, but I'm definitely someone who, like, I hear a lyric in a song and then that sparks a lyric in my mind, and then I go with just trying to like rhyme a couple, and then like I'll take the arrangement from a song and be like, all right, I'm going to write, you know, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, like, so, you know, like I'll take whatever arrangement they have for that song, and you know, I'm starting to really like the lyrics that I've written, and who knows it might not turn into anything. I might just keep making tech house and, you know, but in my who knows what the future holds. Writing lyrics definitely is like a release for me, and a good way to, you know, get my emotions out, and it's therapeutic. Like it really is. And I'm sure, you know, with making your music, that you make some emotional music, man. Like that, like seriously, like that. I think that's a really good thing, by the way. I'm not, you know, I hope you take that as a compliment.
I do.
So you know, I think especially with the type of music you make, when you send that to a vocalist, it will evoke emotion for them to get inspiration to write a song for it. So I think that because it's different, you know, with bass house and tech house, it's like how much fun can we have? You know, it's like, you know, not everyone can write, you know, Cola or Panic Room by Camel Fat, you know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, my goal is like kind of like to tell my story through music and really like essentially make really like emotional, ambient, and atmospheric music that's like melodic dubstep, sort of like future bass, you know, and that's just kind of like my goal is for like, you know, people listening to it to really connect to it. And like obviously I know like every artist goal is to like make them escape when you like listen to the music, but like I really want people to like full on like connect to it and not just be like, oh, this sounds cool, but like, wow, like I can really like relate to this. And that's kind of like my goal, you know. I think obviously it's going to take some time, but you know, that's kind of like my, like looking at it from a perspective, it's kind of like what I want to, you know, accomplish and achieve with music is kind of like, you know, it's cool how you can already be like, dude, like your music is super emotional and people can relate to that. Like that's cool to hear that, you know, like that's kind of like what I definitely want. You know, and I think it's definitely gonna be different in like, you know, people are gonna be like, this is weird because like I'm not used to hearing this type of stuff, like especially kids my age. You know, it's gonna be hard because I'm definitely gonna receive a lot of like probably backlash, probably like, you know, judgment. But I mean that's I think, you know, the life of an artist. I think that's like you're gonna get that from certain people and stuff. But I think like the really cool experience about music is I think you get to learn more about yourself the more you make and like learn stuff and like the DAW I use Ableton and stuff like that. I think it's like the whole process of like learning how to produce music and like finding your sound is like really awesome. And that's what I love about it. Like sometimes it's like really frustrating. I like what I flip out sometimes, but I think like learning and like just creating and like you know, creating a brand and stuff that people can relate to and like sharing my story is like that's my ultimate goal, is really just sharing my story and having, you know, letting people being able to like relate to it. And I think because you know I kind of noticed, and I could be wrong about this, but I feel like a lot of people in the industry and a lot of artists do it for the wrong reasons. Like I mean, like there's some that I can tell like that just don't, you know, it's kind of cool to see, you know, obviously like I can't judge those people. It's like, you know, they're doing it because like of their own reasons, but like, I can tell like some like with like Crystal Skies, Seven Lions, and like some of those artists that they're like really doing because they fucking love it. Like they doing it, they want to share their stories with other people, and it's kind of cool to see that. So that's what I'm trying to do too, is just like really, you know, make people happy with music and stuff. So
you can really see the artist, like how into it they really are in a live performance.
Yeah, live, I would say yes. I mean like yeah. Like I just get like really into it like when I'm live, like that just adrenaline, like I can't even explain it, and that's why I can't wait now as an actual artist to like actually go perform my music in front of people. Like I can't wait to feel and experience that adrenaline because that has yet to been experienced. So
dude, I'm not gonna lie, like I said before, like the music is the drug. Like the best high ever is like being on a stage and like dropping your own personal song and seeing the reaction to like everybody going like that. Like I've caught myself being like, shit, and then being like, I gotta get another song on. like, but it's great though, because like to really live in that moment and to kind of slow everything down and let your music play like that and to get that reaction from the crowd is it's a beautiful experience that, especially now, like whether we do live streams or not, like you're not feeling the energy from the crowd on a live.
Yeah. Even when I was doing IG live, like for Aftershock a couple months ago, like I got hyped as fuck because I was like, oh, 5 people, let's go. But like, I'm just so pumped to when we can do live shows again. And like, you know, I think that'll be awesome because like I haven't done a show as Elysian yet. So like, that'll be definitely a special moment.
Get into it. Unleash the brand. It's freaking, dude, when Kyle came to me and you know, because me and Kyle talk every day, so he's like, yo, you can't say anything about this to anybody, but he was kind of going over, you know, what it means and all of that. So I want to hear kind of from you, because you know that conversation was behind closed doors, like not everyone knows. So like, Can you kind of tell me how this kind of came to fruition, this whole new branding that you've got?
Yeah, I mean, like, essentially what happened is, like, basically, like, I was talking to Kyle, and, like, basically how this all started was I saw him message in Discord, like, for our Aftershock group and say, hey, I have a writer or publisher / writer named Maximilian Venegas, and he does, like, all my writing for my posts and yada yada yada, stuff like that. And I was like, I'm kind of down for that. Like, yo, like, Kyle, like, I want to know more about this guy and, like, how he could help me. And long story short, we all got, like, on a group text and kind of hit it off from there. And basically, like, he just asked me a couple questions, and, like, from there they were just like, dude, you got to do a rebrand. And I was like, I'm down, because, like, Deesh is awesome. Like, all my homies, like, back at school call me Deesh. Like, that's like my go-to nickname, you know, that's what you can call it. And, you know, I think Deesh will always still be there for the OGs. You know, they can always call me that. I just think, like, the name of it, like, kind of came off as, like, frat boy DJ. Like, you could probably pick that up. So, like, they were like, Johnny, I think you should rebrand. And I was like, I agree. Like, I think I should. And we kind of did some thinking, and they helped me, like, come up with a name. And like, Elysian was the one that, like, really stuck out to me, and it was one that I was like, damn, like, this is, like, kind of what I want to do with my music, and, like, have people, like, feel like when they listen to it. And so basically, like, the meaning of Elysian is essentially, like, a higher, I mean, I could look up the actual definition on, like, the internet, but, like, essentially it's like, I mean, the big overview is an escape when you listen to my music, but more so it's kind of like a utopia, like a heaven. It's kind of it's mainly a paradise, like almost thinking of, like, floating islands in the sky, like, with clouds, and, like, just being able to, like, you know, like, kind of feel that. So that's, like, kind of what I want to do with my music. And, like, a lot of the inspiration comes from, like, you know, mainly my big two favorite artists last year is in Crystal Skies. Like, that's kind of where I got all that inspiration from. But essentially with Elysian, it's kind of like one of those things where also, like, you can do anything you set your mind to, and, like, it's okay to express yourself, like, through, like, whatever you want to. And, like, for in that case, that's music for me. And you know, I think it's just, it can be intimidating for a lot of people to do that, you know. And, like, I was just, like, really happy. I was like, I want to do this, let's do it. And, like, we got the website up and going, like, you know, IG's going well, and, like, everything. So it's really cool, dude. Like, the merch, I'm really happy with the merch. And I'm just excited to, like, release, you know, more songs this year, and kind of, like, give people the whole gist of, like, what Elysian is, and, like, what is Elysian sound, you know, because people still don't know. So the Ascension is coming out this Friday. Releases on all platforms. I'm, like, super pumped, because that's the first taste of what Elysian is. And I mean, I think a lot of people will be confused, like, how do you say it, like, Elysian or Elysian, or, you know. And I think at first, like, honestly, like, however you want to pronounce it is fine. I think at some point people will come to a consensus of, like, what the actual spelling of it is, like, the saying of it is. But I was kind of pumped because there's like a couple artists named Elysian. So Kyle helped me figure out, like, a good way to separate myself from those, and basically to put, like, a exclamation point for the I. So it's ELYS exclamation point AN. So, but to sum up Elysian, it's basically just being yourself, and it's kind of, you know, just, an escape, a utopia, you know, a paradise. And like, that's what I'm trying to like basically accomplish with my music and my sound. I'm still discovering my sound every day, you know, working on production and stuff like that. But that's the goal, man. And so like, yeah,
Hell
hopefully
yeah.
that's a good explanation of it.
Absolutely, man. And I'm gonna pause real quick, take a piss, be right back, and don't let me forget about floating clouds in the sky.
I got you. I got you.
All right.
My guy.
So I maybe I want to talk this off screen, but the floating islands in the sky, I'm gonna write that down in my phone.
Dude, hell yeah.
Because
I'll basically here, this is what I'll show you. So this is basically like what I mean by that.
yeah, I absolutely. I saw the
Stuff like this, you know, kind of just having people oh yeah. But also like clouds, and it's just kind of like nature too, like just something about like, you know, I don't know, but just stuff like that like makes me feel like this is what Elysian is. And like long story short, like my first song like that's coming out called the Ascension is all about like change. Ooh, sorry. Is all about change and like, you know, how like the transformation of me like becoming sober and like, you know, just how like Elysian is formed and all that is kind of like one of those things to where, you know, not everyone's gonna like my music, not everyone's gonna like be a fan of the name. Like my mom is not a fan of the name. Like my friends are like, why the hell did you change your name? You know, they're people are just not gonna like it at first. And I think like, I don't know, when I always think of this, I always think of Skrillex, dude. I always think of like when Skrillex, because Skrillex is kind of like, or like Dead Mouse, for they're both kind of like weird dudes. They're not like pretty, they're not like normal, not in a bad way. Very like respective, like humans. Like you know, they're both unique in their own ways. And I think when they probably first launched their songs under the name Skrillex or Dead Mouse, people are probably like, what in the fuck is this? Like, what in the hell, like, does that mean? Like, what, you know? And I think, like, it's going to take some time because people are going to be like, what does this mean? I think, like, once I release a couple of songs, I think people will start to understand. Because, like, right now, like, with no songs out, people are probably going to be like, I'm so confused. But I think that was the same thing with, like, Skrillex and, you know, Dead Mouse. I think when they first started releasing music, people thought it was just so weird, you know, like, you know, and I think it's like when you just continue to persevere and like are able to just stay strong with what you love to do and like stay strong with the brand, like it just goes to show, I think it's very respectful and people really admire that, you know, and there's always going to be people that are going to be like, fuck you, like, you know, but you know, that's how it is, man. And I'm excited. So, yeah.
dude, when you said the floating islands in the sky, I started a little note for some lyrics, because that's it's just a beautiful like picture in my head what you showed, like all that, and you're so right, man. Like if you love it, it will show, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't love it, people will find out and then it won't work, right? But if you love it and you're all about it, that energy will transfer to the people, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
and not everyone, there's not a single person that likes every genre of music, right? Like not,
exactly.
especially, you know, when it comes to our friends and family, like it's the toughest, right? Because they're the ones that are so close to us, right? And so like their opinion really does matter a lot to us. I'll speak for myself, like their opinion, like I'm so grateful that my parents support me in all this, my friends, my family, like, and the first, you know, the first 5 years, it's like when when are you gonna get a real job? Is what is a lot of people say. Like, and then as you keep doing it, and you like people see, my friends and family that are people closest to me see that this is what I want to do, and with whenever I used to do so Free Yourself used to be like a live stream DJing set once a week.
Ooh, that's cool.
Like that's what I had it for 100 episodes. I did that, and that's why you're episode 111, because I've restarted it at 100 for the talking podcast.
Dude, 111, let's go.
Hell yeah. And I would love to see what that numerology. I have a feeling it's going to be something along the lines of floating islands in the sky type of shit. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's right on. Everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to happen. And everything.
Can we look it up?
Like, I mean, yeah, why not? While we're on this, like,
but
the numerology.
Dude, I'm just.
Because I know.
When you see the number 111, your angels are telling you that you have their support and their love. So when number 111 appears by your side, it may be the right moment to take action. You should start a new project or something that may be of great importance for your life.
That's all for you, bro. That is all. Oh, man.
That's crazy.
That's freaking beautiful. I knew it was going to be something about angels and all, you know what I mean? Like, I knew it was going to be heavenly. That's just like I try so hard to like plan everything and do everything structured and all, and like this happened organically. Like I emailed a bunch of people, and you were the first one to get back to me to get onto this podcast, to be number 111. Like,
that is crazy. I didn't know. That's insane, man.
I love when shit like this happens, man. It's even more because stuff like this happens really all the time. But when we notice it, that's when, at least my belief is that we're like in sync with the universe, right? Mm-hmm. Like even, when you see 11:11 on the clock, like people say like, oh, 11:11, make a wish. But like the numerology behind that is like, you're right where you're supposed to be type of thing. And so like that, I've, when some things happen in threes, like the Holy Trinity, like all that stuff is connected. And whether you believe it or not, like, I also believe that you give power to whatever you believe. So like, I love it, and it makes me feel good. So I believe in numerology type of stuff, and like, there's awesome, and that's a beautiful sign for you. 111 with your branding, it's just right on point. It's freaking beautiful, and we didn't plan that at all. Like, it just happened.
We did it.
That's the best part about it. Like,
I think also something, like, I know we talked about it earlier, but I think like something I'm a huge firm believer in is like energy when you do a live set in front of people, because it really does show like your energy and your passion. And I've really missed going out like and performing live. And it's just because like you can just see it with like certain artists to where like some of them just don't show like any emotion whatsoever. And like, obviously I feel like it depends on like the circumstances and like their mental state and whatnot. But like, you usually can see like when artists are like super passionate about what they do, they're not just going to do this. I mean, but it depends too. If Fisher like loves doing that. But like, still, I mean,
like his energy comes
yeah, he's crazy, dude.
He's like, if you kept making, or if you made tech house and bass house, I'd be like, yeah, keep Deesh. Like, that's a freaking house music name right there.
I know, right? Low key, that could be my second alias for
right. Like, but I love what you built with Elysian, and it's I'm excited for Friday. That's gonna be awesome.
Dude, thanks, man.
It's the first Elysian release, right?
First Elysian release, yeah.
Hell
So,
yeah, man. That's a big deal, man. That's a big deal. Like, fucking come on. Like, remember this. Like, what is
I'm really excited, man. Like, I'm actually really looking forward to it. You know, I got like 5 approvals on Submit Hub out of like 60 submissions, which honestly, like, I was pretty pumped about. Like, usually Submit Hubs, like, a lot of those people are super picky. So, you know, I'm just really excited to see how the feedback turns out with the song, and I'm pumped, and I appreciate the support with it, man. That means a lot.
Hell yeah, man. We gotta support each other with all of this. That's especially in
these times, dude.
Yeah,
it's
man.
pretty crazy, you know.
So, are you in LA?
I am in LA, but I go back. So, like, I'm going back to Texas next week on Monday, but classes are basically all online still. I just haven't been back. I took a gap year, so it'll be really good to see all my friends and all my buddies. So I'm, like, really pumped for that. And it'll still be nice, you know. I mean, I love being home, but, like, it'll be nice to have my own apartment and stuff and, like, really grind on music again. I mean, I still have been grinding, don't get me wrong. Don't want my Elysian fan to think I'm just slacking.
So how's LA been during, you know, all of this, man?
I mean, it's been interesting. I mean, it's been like some days it's like super mellow, other days like it's interesting because there's a lot of people like driving their cars still during the pandemic, and like, you know, it's just a weird time, you know. It's really interesting. Like, I'm still trying to understand it, like, you know, but I mean, yeah, it's interesting for sure. I mean, like, just the whole thing where it's like when you're going outside and like you're so used to like a bunch of people with no masks on, and then it's like you like see a bunch of people but they all have their masks on, and like if you see your homies you want to dap them up but you can't, and like it's just kind of scary with Corona, dude, about how like it's actually like killing people my age, which is like pretty scary. So, you know, it's just kind of like just enjoying everyday life because you don't know like what's going to happen now, especially like with the whole virus going on, you know. So like I quit nicotine like a week ago because of like what I was hearing about with all the lung damages and everything. And that's been really hard to quit because that's something I've been like using and like basically as a substitute for the drugs and the alcohol. So, you know, it's been a really weird, interesting like journey this past year, especially with the virus and stuff. But I guess I'm like just getting through it. You know, I think music, quarantine's been a dream for me with music, bro. It's been so awesome. So it's really helped me like, I guess like, you know, just perfect my craft with that, you know. But my team, Kyle and Max, have really been pushing me to just keep on making like new stuff and get out of my comfort zone with producing, just like trying to expand outside the box. I think like, you know, really connecting into my personal self and seeing like what I can make. So yeah, but I'm like really pumped for this podcast to be shared like with the world, bro, so people can see like what Elysian is and stuff like that, you know. So, but yeah.
My favorite part about this is that like you see like there's 1.5 million podcasts now. Like I don't even think that's an exaggeration. Like I think there's legitimately 1.5 million podcasts.
There's a lot. Yeah, no, there's a lot.
But out of all the ones that I watch, man, it's like comedians mostly.
Yeah,
which I love because they're awesome and they're great to listen to. And then of course, you know, you have like the Joe Rogan podcast and stuff, and all these a lot of these podcasts where people are getting to know, like when I see someone on someone's podcast and I don't know them, but I listen to it, I get to know them. And then I'm like, well, what have they put out? Like what have they put out a special on Netflix? Have they put out a special on YouTube? And you get to know the person. And I think that's so important because think of how many people right now in your life love and support you almost no matter what you put out, just because they love and support you. Like, even if they're not fully behind the Elysian brand, they're fully behind you. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that for me, like, it was really a struggle, especially at first when I started DJing, like, because all the gigs that I was getting, like, was top 40. And like, this is 2011 when I started. So like 2011, I'm the one who's loving electronic music and trying to expose everyone in Westchester to electronic music. And then I do a gig and I'm playing top 40 stuff and trying to mix in some electronic stuff. And then people are like, what about Nicki Minaj? And what about Rihanna? And what about, and it was really, really tough to be like, guys, I promise, just like, it'll make you move, it'll make you dance, you'll feel good, like, just listen to this stuff. And I was trying so hard to break into that. And I realized that unless we were making our own music, we wouldn't get booked to play our own music. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I was happy that, once I got clean and met Chris and then we started getting booked as the remote controllers, like, as our artists and as our artist name. And now what's really funny is, like, because like, at least house music and like Chainsmokers and Millennium and all these people, like, people know these names now, Marshmello, all that. So like, I go back to the bars that I was DJing at in college, who were like, don't play that music, play top 40. And now they're like, their DJs are all playing electronic music, and they're like, that's what they want. And I'm like, what? Come on.
That's the thing is with bars and stuff, as much as I love like doing stuff there, it's like basically they want you to play what the people at the bar want. And it's like, I got so fucking sick of that so fast. So like now moving forward, like when like I get booked for stuff as Elysian, like I want to specifically tell those people, like, I'm going to play the music that I want to play, you know? And like for some people that they might be like, okay, then like don't play for us. And I'll be like, okay. Like, it's just one of those things where I have my fair share of experiences with like playing crowd pleasing music. And I just, it was so miserable. I absolutely hated it. So, I'm like really looking forward to expanding the Elysian brand, like getting my music out there. So, because my goal of this is to basically, like, when I do a show, I can play the music that really like makes me like, that makes Elysian like who he is, but also like the music that I just love and like want to share with people, and actually playing a show to where like I can get my own personal space and have security and not like have tons of people come up like at the bars. Cause like I had that and I loved it. It was fun. But like at some point I was just like, yo, like, please let me do my thing. So, but yeah, so.
Yeah, dude, now that you're coming out with your own music, you have your brand established, like, it's not like reaching out to a bar to play a set there. It's like people are going to start being like, we want Elysian to come.
Yeah.
Not like we want Johnny Deesh to come play for all the frat boys and sorority girls that are here. Like it will naturally make that transition. Like
100%. 100%. And like, I mean, I'd still like with my friends and stuff, like I can still like maybe do a side thing and DJ as Deesh and like be the homie. But like for big stuff and like moving forward, like I definitely want, that's why like I think now my respect as an artist is so much better than like what it was just being a DJ, because now I actually make my own music. Now like I actually have my own brand, like I have a website. It's a lot more respectable than just having a board and like mixing shit like I don't even make. So I think now like it'll be a lot better with that stuff. And I'm always still, all the homies can still call me Deesh. Like, so yeah.
The only it's a double-edged sword, right? Because I don't know if the bar gigs and stuff that you did were like the bar gigs I did, but I did get to DJ for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Because it's like, 9 to 1 or 10 to 2 or even 9 to 2. Like, so like that part of it was fun. Like you had free range to do like not whatever you want, because you needed to play top 40 stuff and play what was, popular at that time. But like you had so much more freedom and creativity could really come through. Whereas now when I do an hour set, I also am only doing a half-hour set because I'm a duo with Chris. So now like going from 4-hour sets to a half-hour, going back to back-ish. One thing that Chris and I have done is make it so like I'll do the first 20 minutes, then he'll do 20 minutes, and then we'll go back to back 20 for the next 20 minutes and have some fun that way. But because the thing about, I don't know if you can relate to this too, but when I'm DJing, like if it's for like a long gig, or not even for a long gig, if it's for like even an hour, like if I'm playing one song and then letting Chris play a song and then I play a song and then Chris play a song, I don't like get into that like groove of like DJing and like starting to like really feel it, where you can really come off the cuff and do something, different and spontaneous. And so like when Chris and I came to that agreement that we were going to split up the sets like that, we both got really comfortable playing live. And like the more preparation we do, like the more comfortable we are when we're up there and stuff. But it's one thing to practice it and a whole nother thing to play it in front of people. So like getting up there and being like, all right, I know what I got to do, but then maybe it's a different setup than I'm used to. One, because Chris and I also practice on, he's got the Denons instead of the CDJs, because we couldn't pass up the deal that we got on them. Is freaking ridiculous. And they're two Denons. There's an A and B on each one, so you have 4 when you have 2. So it's just like, it was so practical to get them. And but to be able to get up there and getting through the first and second transition just like cleanly, it just puts you in that mindset, and it just makes it really
gets you in a groove 100%. And I mean, like, I'm just excited to where like I can do a free roam set with the music I want to play, because that's when I get like super into it. It's the stuff I love, and like I'm excited. Like I can't wait to get to that point, and that's why I just want to continue like making music. So like it's just a journey, because then like you feel like, damn, like I really earned this. So like now I can like play music with what I want, and people will like enjoy that, and so I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just such a good feeling when you're on stage and playing your own stuff. It just, I don't know many things that compare to it. I mean, getting the game-winning goal in a hockey game like is like the only thing that can compare to me, like adrenaline wise, or I mean even in my powerlifting meets, like the hitting that PR, like there's very few things that are at like the pinnacle of that huge endorphin, serotonin, dopamine dump that you get.
100%, man. I can fully relate to that. It's playing baseball when I'd strike someone out because I was a pitcher, that that was like an amazing feeling. So like, I kind of relate that to like when I'm able to play the stuff that I love, and like not having anyone like come up to me and say like, please change it, but just everyone just vibes to it. It's also like playing at the right environments and stuff, because like when you're playing at a college bar, like I don't think anyone wants to hear melodic dubstep. Like that's just the reality of it. So it's kind of like, just I'm excited to get booked for stuff that like people will appreciate who ELYS is, and like just that types of stuff. I think that's gonna fuel me even more to just make like bangers. But like
Oh yeah, man. I wanna actually get back to the baseball days and stuff, because like there's so much that we have in common when it comes to sports, being clean and DJing and producing, like all this stuff. And it's cool, you grew up on the West Coast, like, and maybe the grass is greener, but like I've always wanted to go out to LA and so in baseball, like what do you have any similarities in when you're preparing for like your pitching in the next game, or like right before you get on the field? Do you have any like rituals or anything that you kind of do? Like I was very superstitious with like, you know, the way that I did, you know, going up, getting prepared for hockey games, like getting dressed the same way, like things like that. Is there anything
Yeah.
that you do as a pitcher that get you like in the mindset of I'm gonna fucking crush it? Like,
I mean, like, trying to think back, I mean, I think, like, it was just trying to clear my mind and, like, just be present and, like, not overthink it. I think, like, when I, like, warm up in the bullpen and, like, I would sometimes when I'd overthink it and, like, try to pitch this way, like, it never really worked out. I cleared my mind. It just really zoned in and focused, like, it was awesome, and I did really well my senior year, and that's, like, when I wasn't a big partier, wasn't a big drinker, and then, like, when college hit, that 2-year period, I just exploded, like, because I didn't, like, really I wasn't a big yeah, I didn't really party that much in high school because I also, like, just felt like an outcast, like, didn't get invited to stuff, but, like, now looking back at that, it's just kinda, like, also just trying to, like, please everyone and, like, now being myself, like, it feels amazing. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome. And baseball, I learned a lot. Like, that high school program I was in, I went to Palisades High School, which is basically, like, a 5-minute walk in my neighborhood. You know, it was an awesome experience, and that, like, level of structure in the program that I went through there was awesome, and it's really taught me a lot. So, yeah.
so when it comes to preparing for a baseball game and clearing your mind and stuff, is there anything that you do now that's kind of similar when you're like getting into the mindset of I'm gonna be in the studio for a while, or is there any kind of similarities with any of that?
I mean, like, I think it, like, that's a good question. I just feel like it depends, you know? I think it's like what my mindset is currently. Like, I think it's good for me to take breaks and, like, space it out. Because, like, if I do producer overkill, like, my creativity just kind of goes, so, like, I think balance is really key. And I think, like, you know, taking advantage of, like, the right moments, because, like, when I'm really inspired and stuff, like, I really produce well and, like, I have a good session. So I think, you know, keeping that stuff in mind is, like, really important, and, like, not being too hard on myself when I produce, because I think, like, that can really discourage me sometimes, and, like, being like, why is this happening? Because that's the whole learning process. That's the cool part. Because I think, like, whatever, you know, a couple of years from now, when I look back at stuff I was making, I'll probably be mind blown and be like, why was I making this type of stuff? You know? So I think it's, like, one of those things. It's just, like, enjoying every moment of music and, like, learning as a producer and, like, not taking it for granted, because it really does help develop you into the producer that you become. So I think, you know, yeah. I think also, I think not comparing yourself to other people. I get really sidetracked sometimes into comparing, like, oh, well, this guy's making really good stuff. How am I going to even, like, be considered that good of a producer? So easy to get lost in the thought of that. So I think it's, like, not worrying about that and, like, just taking advice from other producers and not trying to compare your style of sound to other producers' sound, because I think, like, what has really helped me when I go in the studio is, I forgot to talk about this. This is, like, the one thing I've learned that I feel like will help me become, like, a successful producer with the sounds I want to make, is when I go in and open a fresh, brand new project. Obviously, I take inspiration from the artists I love, but when I go in and make it, I just, like, zone in and don't think about, like, anything, and just, like, let the ideas flow. And obviously, like, taking the inspiration from other artists really helps, like, tremendously. But, like, obviously, I don't want to copy their style and, like, try to replicate, you know, a song I really like obviously that would be cool, but like then that wouldn't make me unique, you know? So I think doing that and like when I just clearing my mind and like just letting the ideas flow is huge for me. I think that's like what, you know, being open-minded and trying new things too. Like sometimes I like just sticking to the same format over and over again, but like, you know, it's a cool experience. I think that's like learning Ableton and like learning music production like every day is such a cool experience because it's like you just like get to learn new things because, you know, there's the artists that I love, I probably am learning new things every day too. So I think it's like really cool to like discover that stuff and you know, yeah.
So can you sort of take me into that process? Like you open your DAW, and is there, because some people, you know, will put in a reference track and kind of look at
Yeah.
the, and some people are just like, they have their go-to like kick, drum, or kick, snare, hi-hats that they put in, and they'll put that in first, and then they start with the melody. What's your sort of process like? Is it very similar every time you go in, or is it
Yeah,
very different? Like,
you know, it depends. I think sometimes I try spicing it up, but for the most part, I always start like I gotta get better in a better habit of putting a reference track because that definitely helps. What I usually do first is I do the piano right away. Like that's my go-to. I get the melody done with the piano, and then once I have my chords and stuff, then I add like a little arp on top of it, and then add like the verse drums, and then the build up, and then the drop, and then kind of then from there, once I have like the main basics of the track, then like I go in and like add like similar. Oh no, sorry, I go in and add like little ear candies to like splice it up and stuff like that. So I think like in terms of like the way I compose a track and like go about it, I think like I'm pretty consistent. Like I kind of try to have like an agenda of like what I want to accomplish in a certain amount of time and like what elements I want to use. And I think like what I really like try to stay consistent with is getting like the main ideas out of the way, and then so like if I come back, then like boom, then I can like, you know, add some cool little stuff. So I think like in terms of our process, like I'm super happy how I go about a track because it helps me like pump out ideas, and so like I don't like lose those ideas. And I think like trying to do too much in like starting a fresh new project like does not end up well for me because then like I just like don't make any progress. So I mean like I really started like heavily producing in December, and so like that what I've learned throughout that time is, you know, essentially to not overcomplicate things because like when I did, like that just made it like really difficult for me. So I think just like letting things come as they flow, you know, and I think that's what helps Elysian flow. And like I think my favorite part about producing is for sure like the drop. Like that's my favorite part. Also making the melodies, like the nice arps, like just like making it super ambient and atmospheric. So I think like when I do chord stacks is just making it like really like impact. Like you feel like something's like warming up your heart and like making you super joyful. So like yeah.
that's freaking beautiful, man. I love it. Oh, so with your, because you said you start with the piano and stuff, like Chris grew up playing friggin' guitar, and he played it lefty, like, but didn't restring it, so he was like playing
That's insane.
upside down, and he can like hear a melody and play it, whereas I come from a background of friggin' sports, not music theory.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so did you grow up playing any instruments? Or is
So
music theory something that you're also learning as you're producing?
great question, man. So I grew up probably like I think 7 or 8. That's when I started playing piano. I think I played for like maybe 2 or 3 years and I quit. And then when I got back into music production, I started learning piano again. I got my MIDI keyboard over there. So from time to time, I'll go on it. So like I'm starting to refresh my memory. And in terms of the music theory, that's coming back too, because like I think like with learning piano, you have to learn music theory too. And I'm learning other intricate parts of it as well. So I think like it's kind of a big refresher, but like I'm also like learning every day like new things and stuff. So I want to get more in the habit of like actually using my MIDI keyboard when I write melodies, because I've just gotten so used to like going into Ableton and like just making those melodies and stuff. So like yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, but I think like it's been really cool like refreshing my memory and everything like with Ableton and stuff like that. So and especially like just I wish like I never quit piano, because I think it would have tremendously helped me just progress faster with music production. But I think at the same time it's like really cool to learn it again and like just get familiarized with like all the notes and stuff.
See, it's so interesting hearing so many different producers and how they got into music production and what their knowledge and background comes from. Because like I've seen so many different like painted pictures, and like
Yeah, it's really cool.
like you have your experience where like you played piano for a couple years, and now like you're getting back into it and you're refreshed. And then you have my one buddy who he can play every instrument and knows music theory out his freaking ass, but like
He's so nice.
yeah, but like at the same time, like this is a person who doesn't have any tracks signed. And like I've seen so many people, like I like what you said, like keeping it simple. Because I mean, Kid Cudi has a line in his song, "The ones that make it complicated never get congratulated." And but that line is important, but I also don't want to use it as a crutch, because
Yeah.
just because I now, please, people in the world, don't crucify me for this, but I'm pretty sure that Pharrell doesn't know music theory, but he knows what sounds good. And Pharrell's in my opinion, greatest producer of all time. Maybe Skrillex. On every different day, maybe I'll say Calvin Harris. I don't know, but anyway, you see, I think it's important. First, like you said, to not compare. Like just because I came into music production with like more of an understanding of not I don't want to say drums, because I didn't grow up playing the drums either, but like having rhythm. That's why like DJing came so easy to me, because like I'm first off, like I'm Puerto Rican. I got a little spice to me, right? So like I've always been able to keep a beat, and always, back in freaking 7th grade dances, like when you have the circle, and like back in, I mean,
Oh, that's so funny.
I'm quite a bit older than you, so like that's when like the Crip Walk was big and the Harlem Shake, and like you might have been in diapers when I no, but so like my own background, I always had rhythm, and I went the DJ route. Then was like, if I really want to be a DJ, like it's about becoming a producer, and
Yeah.
whereas Chris, he's the complete opposite of me. Like I'm not gonna say anything about his dancing skills, but like his music theory and his knowledge for that like is it's beautiful. Like watching him sometimes, like even if he just takes out, it's like a 12 key MIDI keyboard, and he'll just like mess with the chords. And like I mean, there's in Straight Outta Compton, there's you got Dr. Dre playing on his little 12 key fucking keyboard and stuff. And it's just it's so cool that no matter what background you come from, like there's tools for everything, right? Like there's ways to learn everything. I mean, YouTube University is freaking I've learned more from YouTube University than anything. Like there's so much content out there for everyone to be successful. And now granted, not everyone starts at the same spot, right? So like it's hard to say like anyone can do anything, because like if you start a race both at the same spot, like, yeah, it's much more likely that it's a 50-50 shot who's going to win the race, right? But like if you start and you're here and then someone else starts back here, like you're probably going to win, right? Like
Same, bro.
it's so much. I mean, unless you're racing me, and if I start back here, I still might win. But you know, but there's so many different ways that to get into music production to accomplish anything that we're trying to accomplish. Like I'm really grateful that I got this friggin' MacBook, and I've got this capability at my fingertips to have Ableton and to have YouTube and to have all this to make it so that like if I'm not getting better at production, if I'm not getting better at any part of this, whether it be the quality of my podcast, the quality of my content, the quality of, I have Adobe everything. I pay a monthly subscription to that. So like everything is here for me to improve on every part that comes along, because it's not just about making music, right? Like I know that you had to come up with this whole brand and develop this whole thing, and now like it's not just about the music we make, it's also about the content that we make, and there's no perfect formula for it, and there's no like, well, you have people that are like, well, the good music will get heard no matter what, and it's like, but if you put out a song and there's no following, like is there anyone to listen to it? So like it's
there's like just a little like balance. You gotta also make great music, but you also have to know like what you're doing, because like if you don't have any, I experienced that it sucked. Like I mean I consider I made pretty good music, and like I put it out and like no one would hear it. I would be like, bro, what? And so like it's one of those things where it's like a learning process, so
like a real good comparison that just came to mind is like a lot of people in the NBA will say like the best person they ever played against was like, I don't know, Rucker Park is like famous, but like the best basketball players at Rucker Park, not in the NBA. Like and it's because they of where they are and the circumstances in their life that maybe they didn't get to a certain spot, and but then it's also like, well, all the motivational stuff that I read is like if you're right where you made yourself be, like you're I forget the acronym for poor, but like there's so many factors that
go into it.
It's like you can't say that like you can't say that like I'm a result of the environment I grew up in, because like there's also things that I can do, but then like
change that.
There's so much. There's so many
factors and stuff, and I think like until you put your music out there, you have no clue what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. And there's so many examples of like I'm pretty sure. See, like I've heard this, but like I never fact check it. I was just like, oh, that's a freaking great story. So like I heard Bruno Mars was like living out of his car before like he came out with his music, and Post Malone had was like he had $6 in his account or something, and then dropped what he was like, I got nothing to lose, so I'm just dropping White Iverson and seeing what happens, and then
who the fuck up.
like and
never know, man.
Old Town Road, that guy did Lil Nas. He there was a story with him that there was literally like 12 cents in his bank account, and he was like, I got
That's crazy.
Like stuff like that. And it's there's so many things that can happen, and like I try so hard to be planned and structured, but yet I still know the fact of my life has been like the greatest things that happened organically, like and it wasn't forced, and there's no like if you do this you will get this, like that the only thing that translates is like mathematics. Like if you with 2 + 2 was always going to equal 4, like there's no gray area with that, right? But with music production, it's not like if I use this kick, this snare, this hi-hat, this chord progression, like I'm going to make a hit. But then there's so many people that have released pop music, and you see these videos of like it's the same 4-chord or 3-chord progression that have all these top hits, and then there's like really 5 people who have written all the pop hits of the last like 20 years that have, and it's like the number ones, and you see there's so many. It's like, yes, there's ways to like, if you strike gold, like keep doing the same thing a little bit different and you'll keep striking gold. But like, if there was a definite formula, then like anybody could do it.
Dude, exactly, bro. That's, yeah.
And then, but at the same time, like anybody can do it, because you just got, there's so, I love this freaking, I only read the first freaking 30 pages literally last night of The Alchemist, but it's like, it's about being so much about, it's all about being yourself. Like no matter what, like if you're yourself and you love what you do, like you already are a success. It's as simple as that. And I'm mind blown when I think back to like being in college and like me being the one fucked up at the show and being like, I'm so much better than that DJ on stage, and like that should be me. And it's like,
Yeah.
that motherfucker earned that shit though. It wasn't like they were just like, here you go, you get this slot because you paid for this and whatnot. And there's
Everything happens for a reason. It's hard to accept that sometimes, but like the more you accept it, the better things are.
right. And it's real easy when it's something good happens and you're like, yeah, everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to and for a reason. And like, but when something like, I don't want to say negative, right? Because like I'm exactly where I'm at because of many things that I thought were negative at the time, but really turned out to be a positive. But like when something hurts like so deep inside your freaking soul and breaks your heart, and or like you didn't get that thing that you thought you needed, but really it was just a want, and this, you didn't get the gig, or you didn't get the song signed by this certain label, and all these things that come into
Yeah,
that's
no, for sure. I mean,
it's just a beautiful thing when, without like, because everything happens that's my belief, everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to happen. But like I don't want to think also that like my fate is predetermined, and because then I'll be like, well, it doesn't matter what I do, like this is already, everything's already planned out. So like there's I've found so much peace, or I find so much peace and serenity when I just take a breath and like, no matter what has happened in the past or what's going to happen, like I'm right here.
yeah.
I'm in this moment with my freaking homie Deesh, aka Elysian.
It's good.
And I get to share this freaking, whatever platform this is. I get to come on here, and you're in freaking LA and I'm in freaking Jersey. We're 3-hour time difference, and yet we can have this conversation and have us freaking smile on our face and freaking talk about life. Like this is incredible. Like what is this? The simulation theory, like what is this? This is just a flat thing with a flat thing that has a camera, and you're 4,000 miles away from me. Like, yet we can talk and it's seamless, and it doesn't even seem, there's no like delay in the speech to your speaker to, what I mean?
Like, dude, it's crazy how the world works.
This stuff is so wild. Like I was test driving cars today. Like I can't believe that like I want a stick shift car. No matter, that's like my only requirement for this car. And like why is it so hard to find a stick shift car? That's
Bro, so it's easy, bro.
everyone wants the easiest
No.
automatic, and now like Tesla, like autopilot. Like, what is going on? This is totally a simulation, and like, I got off on a crazy tangent on that, but man, like, I'm just grateful to be here with you doing this, man. Like, I freaking love this.
Awesome, dude.
This is my favorite part of my week, like getting to sit down with other artists and talk about our life, our brand, our everything. Like it's such a gift to be able to do this and to have you on here, man. Like I'm just so grateful. Like it's
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. This has been freaking dope.
so as I digress from my rant about I don't even know. Let's I want to dive more into, you know, what inspires you on a day-to-day basis to make music. Like I know for me, like if I hear a song, I like a lyric or something, it kind of inspires me. And so like on a day-to-day basis for you, like life's about balance. So like what are the other things that you're doing that kind of keep you going and keep you fresh? And
I think working out's awesome. I think like just hearing, yeah, hearing like new songs that come out from my favorite artists is just like that stuff like fires me up. It's really like just something that like I can't explain. It's more like just in the moment type stuff. It's like, oh, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Just stuff like that, you know. It's like listening to tunes in the car, like bumping that, like with my, it's just like that stuff like really is like, damn, like I'd love to perform this live right now. So just stuff like that honestly is what keeps me like super pumped up and stuff. So yeah.
so since you grew up playing baseball, like
Yeah.
for me, I grew up playing hockey. So like core and legs was the most important thing for hockey. So like while a bunch of my friends in college were doing freaking bro lifting, biceps and chest, like, or back and buys, like leg day was freaking every day for me because of hockey. So what types of workouts do you do? Is there anything that, like, what is there a favorite? Is there a same routine every time? Is it?
So I've been doing like Zoom workouts with my trainer. Like basically it's like via Zoom because he lives in Arizona because he moved like a couple years ago from LA to Arizona. But like I do like mainly like body workouts. So like in terms of like push-ups, sit-ups, jump rope. I really think my favorite is probably like jump rope because it's just like activates cardio and like it's so awesome. I love it. So Elysian promotes working out.
Fuck yeah. So with all the different, now jump roping is by far one of the best cardio workouts. Like absolutely. And I know you guys probably got some chiseled calves then too, but can you do like all the different tricks and stuff that like, cause there's a lot that like you see when like boxers prepping for a fight and stuff, they always doing the different, you know.
Dude, I tried doing one of those chip tricks and I whipped myself in the back. So, but like I can do like backwards jump rope and forwards, and I can like do like skiing in motion type stuff. But like besides that, not like really any crazy tricks. So,
What about a double?
ooh, possibly. I used to do double dutch back in the day. That was sick. Yeah, dude. That was fun. Double dutch was insane.
So is that like in your neighborhood, you come outside and you see like people doing it and you like jumping? Like where did you play double dutch? Was that in gym class? What?
It was actually at my elementary school. And it was just like Sure, they would just like do it. It was like so cool, and I was like, damn. So then I was like, I want to try it, and then I just started doing it like on the side, like when people had it going. So it's pretty cool.
Now, you grew up in LA, so I gotta ask about like the like surfing and that whole scene. And have you ever surfed? Are you like me, where you're terrified of the sharks in the water, so you're like, fuck it? And
I mean, yeah, sharks are definitely scary. I mainly like body surfed, and boogie boarded, but like I tried surfing like a couple times, and it's actually pretty fun. So yeah,
yeah,
everyone always thinks I'm a surfer, but yeah.
my buddy who moved out to LA like after we graduated college, he just put up a video and he's like, stay tuned to the end to watch such and such. And he freaking like, he gets off the board at the end of his run, and then he's like jumping up out of it, and he like hops on his board and like goes away as fast as he can. I'm like, bro, like, did you just get attacked? Like, what? He's like, stingray season. I'm like, more terrifying things. Like, wait, why would you show me this?
Like, dude, this just does not want me to make, like, I just don't want to go in the ocean after this.
like seriously, I grew up skimboarding because there's that much water when you're skimboarding, and you go out a little bit and you take a little wave right back in, and that's it. And, but surfing was always something I always wanted to do, but literally like fear held me back from doing that. I hated going into deep water. I think it also stems back to like I think I was like 8 years old, and like a rip current like pulled me out, and there was like I was trying so hard to get back in, and I had to have been like 8 years old or younger because I was really small. Not that I'm tall now, but there's this guy who had his reel out there and was fishing, and he literally like he had it, at the time he seemed like a giant, right? Because I was so young. But he like walked out into the water and like grabbed me and my sister and I think my cousin. I think it was me, my sister, my cousin, or my next door neighbor or something, and like pulled us back in. And like that was one of the first moments of my life where I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Like I'm gonna drown. Like terrifying, because I don't know if you've ever been pulled out by a rip current, but that shit is freaking.
That is really sketch, bro.
I was freaking terrified, man. And I think, the only time where I like, cause I boogie boarded too, but like that was like a really traumatic experience for me, like when I was younger. And like, I don't remember the rest of that day is a blur. Like, I don't know if we were out in the water the whole day and then that happened and then I was terrified and wouldn't go back in. Like, I don't remember any other details. I just remember this guy coming and like pulling me back in, and it's just like one of those, when you're so young, it's funny, the things you remember versus the things you don't. Like, it's things that really either where you were like terrified or like extremely happy, or like it's the things that peak the not the hormones, the I guess the endorphins in your body. I'm definitely not a scientist, but like the things that really impact you. It's like the everyday things I don't really remember, but like the things that were really traumatic or really, amazing. Like I remember my 8-year-old all-star team baseball. Like we won the championship. We won all New Jersey youth, baseball. Like
we so hype.
Like that shit. I still. Oh, hold on 1 second. I got this. 8-year-old baseball.
Dude, that's so hype.
1999. Montgomery Baseball Classic, 8-year-old division champion. Boom. Freaking, it was when I was 8 years old, this was like half of me, right? That is one of my best moments. But like when you're that young, like first off, like were we actually that good at baseball? Because like I've seen 8-year-olds play baseball. Like,
Yeah.
like
That's pretty funny.
I think that's my biggest trophy though. Freaking 8 years old, got my biggest trophy.
Hell yeah, dude. That's sick.
It's cool though. It's funny as I got older for sports, it turned into more like medals instead of
Yeah.
like, and stuff.
I thought big trophies back in the day were sick. I
Right.
think I have. Well, let's see if I have some here. Oh, I just have like plaques and stuff. I don't have any trophies. So, yeah. But, anyways.
Man. What else from your childhood is there something much like an amazing like memory that you have from your childhood, like being out in LA?
Okay, I do have one. I was able to like go on the Lakers court when they were warming up and like when Kobe was in his prime, when I was like a huge Kobe fan back in the day. That was really sick. That was tight.
What made it so that you could get on court?
My mom had like a connection or something, and like we were able to like I don't really remember like specifically who it was, but like it was insane. Like when they were warming up, I got to stand like on the court, hold a ball, and like watch them shoot, dude. I was so nervous because I was like, oh my god, everyone's watching me. Like this feels so awkward, but it was really cool. It was awesome.
Was that number 8 Kobe or number 24 Kobe?
Oh, I think that was number 24 Kobe.
So,
I think number 8 I think 24 is so legendary, but I feel like 8 was so cool. I feel like 8 resembled his like young self, and then 24 resembled his like prime self.
So one thing that I really connected with Kobe, I still can't believe that Kobe Bryant's dead. First of all, like what the
It's nuts how that happened, dude. It's like insane.
like,
I still can't believe that. I thought he was invincible, dude.
right? Like, dude, it was what was it last Friday? Driving back from my buddy's house in Pennsylvania, I was with my other buddy, and we drove through Lower Merion, where he's freaking from.
Oh wow!
Right outside of Philly, and like when we were like, oh shit, like here's Lower Merion, I was like, oh my god, R.I.P. Kobe, like just to have that moment of like, oh yeah, this is where Kobe's from. Oh wait, R.I.P. It's like it was
dude
weird to say that, and my birthday is August 24th, 8/24. So like it was like, I'm not gonna lie, number 8 Kobe, like I was all in on the Eastern Conference, because like Jason Kidd, and like that's who I freaking loved, and he was on the Nets, and it's the New Jersey Nets, so like playing against Kobe, and so I was like, I wanted Allen Iverson instead of Kobe, but then like he switched numbers and is no longer with the fro, and it's the shaved head or the very small hair, and so like it was like number 8 Kobe was like the villain to me. But then like number 24 Kobe, it was like, love this guy. And because then, Jason Kidd retires, and I'm just a fan of like all these different players in the NBA, and just seeing Kobe mature. And so I can't say that I loved Kobe. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, Kobe, I always loved him. He was my favorite player from the, from day one. I absolutely, I hated him at first. Like I hated the Lakers when I was younger. Like they were winning all the championships when I wanted and the Nets never won because of them. And they won the Eastern Conference like 3 times, but then never could get the NBA Finals. And I think they lost to the Lakers once or twice, and the Spurs once or twice. I forget exactly. But yeah, man, that that connection of, and then I heard Dave Chappelle on his last special. He came out with like a half-hour special on YouTube after the whole, George Floyd thing, and it was kind of about that. It was called 846, which we all know that's how long he had his knee in his neck. But Dave Chappelle also, his birthday is 8/24, August 24th.
What?
Yeah, I was like, yes, Dave Chappelle, my dude. Like,
Dude, that is so funny.
I forget exactly what he said about Kobe and why he brought it up and stuff. And but man, that was cool to find out. Like, I didn't know that about Matt. Me and Dave Chappelle got the same name or the same birthday, and yeah, the same name, right? But man, freaking, did you grow up like loving all sports, or did you just grow up playing baseball? Or
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I grew up. I mean, like, baseball was my main sport, but I loved basketball, like watching football and golf and the whole shabam. So, like, yeah.
did you play golf too?
Yeah, I started playing golf later in my life, and it's actually super fun. I love golf. So, yeah.
I'm fairly new to golf. I played my first 18 holes about, it was a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It was the week before I went down to North Carolina with Kyle for his gig, and I shot a 124, my first ever 18. I was pretty proud of that. I only lost 2 balls the whole time.
That's really good, dude. For your first time, especially.
Hockey and lacrosse. Like, I've kind of got the swing down, but I've also, a buddy of mine growing up, he was huge into golf, and we played hockey together, and he also was on like his high school golf team, and then he went to school and became a golf pro. So like he taught me. Yeah, so not like PGA Tour, like a golf pro at a country club type of thing.
That's awesome.
That like teaches and stuff. So like I'd go to the golfing range with him, and he's taught me like all the swing mechanics and stuff. Like, obviously I'm not, a friggin' pro, but like I had never taken and transitioned those skills from the driving range to the course. And like, of course it's way freaking different. Like,
yeah,
I actually had like some confidence like going into it. And instead of being like, oh, I'm going to be terrible, I'm like, in a perfect condition, like on the drive, like I hit a couple fairways. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I hit, 12 fairways, like, but I hit a couple, and I was, pumped about that. But
Yeah.
once now I'm like, all right, now I have a new obsession that I can buy then golf clothes. Like, I'm like looking up different spikes, and I'm like, oh god,
Like,
another thing for me to spend.
an amazing golfer.
Right, like I'm going pro. 100%. Yeah. But my brother-in-law golfs a shit ton, so I'm gonna try and get out there with him a lot, and have especially now, like, there's no hockey leagues. I do like flag football. Right? I am in a flag football league, so we still have that. Right. Sunday mornings, baby. Sunday football. But I would love to get out on some courses more, because that was it. First off, I didn't know it was gonna be like 4.5 hours walking that course, and we had a golf cart at least, but that was it was like, to that point I think today was one of the hottest days of the year out here. But that turned out to be the hottest day of the year up to that point when we were out on the golf courses. But like smoking stogies and chilling, that was
yeah.
I'm a big fan of golf now, and plus, I look good in my little short shorts for
That's so funny.
Yeah, man. Shit, we're at the 2-hour mark now. Is there anything that you wanna bring up? I know we've got the track coming out on Friday.
Yes, sir.
Ascension.
Yeah, the Ascension. It'll be out on all platforms. It comes out, well, I guess like Thursday, Friday, like 12 a.m. on Friday. So like, yeah.
12 a.m. Pacific time or
12. So like, it's a little confusing. It's mainly like 12 p.m. It's mainly 12. I think on Spotify, I did it to where it comes out on 12 on like every single time zone. So like,
okay.
I think like it might come out like whatever the earliest time zone is for us, or like probably like China, it comes out on Wednesday on Spotify. I don't know. So we'll figure. I'll see, but it's like 12 p.m. on like most on every time zone, or 12 a.m. on every time zone. And then like SoundCloud, I think it's like 9 p.m. on Thursday, and then like 12 West or East Coast time. So like somewhere around, let's just say like 12.
So Friday when we wake up,
Yeah, Friday when you wake up.
Ascension will commence.
Yeah, 12.
Yeah, man.
That's funny how you phrased it. Yeah, it just comes out Friday, 12 a.m. Really excited. Can't wait for everyone to hear it. So, and then the website is up and running, whoiselysian.com. You can just check out everything about Elysium, from merch to about me to, you know, my tracks coming out, all the whole 9 yards. And then I have accounts on like SoundCloud, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that. You can find all that good stuff, guys, at whoiselysian.com.
Hell yeah. I'm so pumped for you, man. Friday, the first ever Elysium release. That is
Yes.
that's incredible, man. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
That's freaking beautiful, man. I wish you all the success in the world. And once
Thank
again,
you, brother. Appreciate it.
thank you so much for coming on the
Dude,
podcast.
of course. Thank you for having me on, man. It's been a pleasure.
Hell
And
yeah.
hopefully we can do one in the near future.
Yeah, the next release. We'll see if we can get you back on here and do more promotion and stuff. And
Sweet. Sounds great.
to everybody that tuned in, I love you guys. Thank you so much for your love and support. Whoiselysian.com for everything Elysian.
And if anyone's curious about how it's spelled, it's WHOELYSIAN.com. There's no exclamation point for when you do the website address. But then like for Elysian, the artist name is just ELYS exclamation point AN. There you go.
And I'll put the link. The links will be in the description of all of this, so I'll be able to click right from here to support you. Everybody, Johnny Deesh, aka Elysian, whoiselysian.com. Friday, the Ascension, the first ever Elysian track will be dropping. I'm
Yes, sir.
so freaking pumped. I love you so much, brother.
Brother, thank you so much for having me on, man. It's been a blast.
Hell yeah, man. And to everybody watching, peace, love,
Peace and love.
respect.
Respect.
I'll talk to you soon, brother. Love you, man.
All right, man. Love you, brother. Thanks. Peace.